Hey, what's going on, internet? This is Josh Noel from SonduckFilm. I'm on camera here, but in this After Effects video, we're going to talk about creating transitions. Alright, you want to create some awesome transitions? Well, no problem. We're going to jump into the actual screen recording of the tutorial. Let's get started. Alright, the first transition we're going to create is this nice whip pan that's going to kind of cycle through multiple clips of the same shot, so you can have this very nice subtle whip pan very easily. Let's go ahead and create that right here in our first composition where we have the cut between our two clips. And what we simply can do here is go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, then we'll go to Effect, Distort, Transform. And from here, we'll want to start this off for probably a second or so, a half a second before we do the transition. We'll add keyframe 4 position. And then we'll move over to the second clip, maybe about a half a second over. And what we can do is just position this over. And we'll see, transparency here. But then go to Effect, Stylize. And we're going to want to grab CC Reptile. And we come here and expand right. And you can also have done the position in any direction as well. You could do it from up to down, left to right. It doesn't really matter, but we did it from right. And you can see we repeat our tiles here. And then we can continue to do the position. So maybe we'll just bring this over and we'll want to find that sweet spot. So there's the cut between our clips, and then we'll just move this over until that cut is over on our side there, and we can continue to duplicate this. So you can see now if we move forward here, we have this cut like this, and that looks pretty good and stops exactly where it needs to stop. And hit U on your keyboard to bring up the keyframes, and select both of the keyframes here. Hit F9 on your keyboard to make them easy ease keyframes. And now we have this nice subtle cut. Let's go ahead and do a quick preview on it. So that's how you can do the slide cut. However, we do need to turn on motion blur, and I'm going to show you the problem when turning on motion blur when using this method. So now we can see that as the transition goes by, we'll see some hefty black bars in there, and it might not be too big of a deal, but for me, I'm a perfectionist, I want to make sure that we can hide that. Unfortunately, with this method, the only way you can get rid of it is if you select all your layers here, your two video layers, an adjustment layer, you go to Layer, Pre-Compose, and we can call it, slide. We should call it slides, fine. And we'll go back into our main composition, copy the two video layers, go back into the main composition, paste those video layers underneath your slide layer, and that's a way that you'll hide the cuts in the, between the slides. So you can see right here that the cuts, are being duplicated and it's covering up that transparent areas, and no one's gonna be able to notice it because it's going so fast. Yeah, see, it's going so fast no one can tell, but that's how you can do a slide transition very easily. Looks great. Let's move on to our second technique. If you're serious about creating amazing transitions and also saving time doing that, I highly suggest checking out the handy Seamless Transitions pack, which has over 1,000 preset transitions that you can just drag and drop into After Effects within a couple of seconds. So you can build out a 3-minute video full with advanced transitions within a few minutes. If you want to learn more about this transition pack, go ahead and check our link in the video description. So for this method, we're going to use shapes to transition our two clips on, and there's many ways to do this, so really let your creativity go on this one. But I'm going to show you a very easy method here. We're going to grab the rectangle tool and click on the word stroke and set this to solid color, and click on the word fill and set this to none. And we can come here and draw out a rectangle like this, and we can change how thick you want the rectangle to be. No big deal. And we come here to the Align tab, go to Window, Align, and you see the Line tab, center this up with the vertical buttons. And from here, we'll go to the first clip, open up Rectangle 1, go to the Transform Rectangle 1, add a keyframe for scale, set it down to 0%. And we'll move forward, and we can come here and just increase this all the way past our composition. So now we have the shape just doing this. Now this is going to be a very basic method, but you can really go advanced with this. So what we're going to do here is make sure we move our second clip to the first keyframe of our shape layer. Of course, make both these keyframes easy ease keyframes by hitting F9 on your keyboard. And right here to see the clip cuts. Well, here we're going to use a mask. So grab the rectangle tool and make sure your second video layer is selected. Alright, so let's come here to the middle of the second clip here, or really just between the cut there, and grab the rectangle tool, and make sure you grab the same tool that you use to draw out the initial transition, and just draw a mask around this. And this is where this is going to be at. And what I would do here is open up mask 1, add a keyframe for mask path, and I would move forward to the end over here, and I would hit Control T on a PC or Command T on a Mac. We can grab our corners here and just mask this out as far as we can. So now you can see that we are able to follow our mask like that, no problem at all. Then we have to go to the first keyframe here, and we just have to make this extremely small. So do the Control T again, and we'll make this really small from the center. Alright, and RAM preview this real quick. We now just use our shape to do this, and of course you can do like vertical lines going across a composition. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this. So this is simply the way to do it. You just create a shape and you use mask to hide the cut, and it's very easy to do. So that's one way to do it. And of course, make sure to turn on motion blur as well for your shape, so it blends nicely in there. Look at that, that looks good. In our last example, I'm going to use the track map method for transitions. So essentially I'm going to use paint brushes, for example, but you can use anything other than paint brushes. So I have two paint brushes right here, which you can't see because boom. And I'm going to bring these into our composition, and simply all I have to do here is work with the first one. We'll hide the third one here, and I'll make this a little bit bigger so we don't have to spend too much time on this. But we come here and we'll lay this out right here, and then we'll go to Effect, Transition, and we're going to grab Linear Wipe. And from here, come here to the beginning of the timeline, doesn't matter. Add a keyframe for transition completion, and we'll set this up to 100%. And we'll move forward here to maybe a half second, set it down to 0%. And we can also reverse the wipe angle, so I'll set this to -90 degrees. So it comes in from that direction, and we increase the feather by a touch. So from here, we want to lay out paintbrushes across our entire composition. So we'll add another paintbrush in here, and then we'll just copy the same, transition linear wipe. In here, we'll copy that, paste it in there, and we can offset the layer just by a couple of frames. There you have that. And then we come here, we can duplicate both these layers, and of course more variations will make this effect even better. And then we'll just move these around. Alright, so now we have this paintbrush reveal, and you can be very specific about closing that up, but I'm not going to do it, just show you that you don't have to do it this way. So now when the transition is done, go to Layer, New, Solid, and make sure this layer is black. And of course you want to make whatever object you're transparent on. Maybe you're using ink for this. You want to make sure it's black, and you want to come down here. And then we'll just essentially hit T on our keyboard for opacity, and we'll move this keyframe forward in time, set the opacity down 0%. So then when this is all done being transitioned, it'll just fade to black and it'll be a full transition. Move these keyframes over by a little bit. Alright, now that we're done here, let's go ahead and grab all of our layers here and go to Layer, Pre-Compose, and we can call it Mats. Perfect. Move this keyframe right between the cuts here, and we want to make sure that our clips are stacked on top of each other like this. And make sure that this matte layer is on top of your second clip. Go to the track matte, set it to alpha matte. So now this is going to cut in, and of course you might want to have this completely, the entire animation over the second clip. And here's our RAM preview using the paintbrush transition, and you can see it works really well. And you can do this with any other sort of texture icon. You could use flowers if you want, or cars, but make sure the the outline of it is black, because you need to be able to do this alpha matte correctly. And of course make sure to turn on motion blur, but I think this is fine without the motion blur. And you see you don't even have to complete everything because it can fade right over, and it makes a lot of sense. So these were 3 cool transitions that you can apply to help enhance transition works. However, so of course doing these transitions takes a lot of time and a lot of creativity to do this effectively, consistently as well. That's why I use the transition pack, Handy Seamless Transitions, which allow me to quickly browse over 1,000 transition presets and find something that works best for me. So that simple pan that we did before, we can come into here, we can find something that we really like this bounce preset. We can select the speed and the direction of it, and simply just click apply, put the marker between the cut, and within a second we've applied this very advanced transition. And we were able to do it within a couple of seconds. This is why this pack is amazing. And it comes with this nice extension here inside of After Effects, almost like a plugin. And we want to add another one, no problem. Maybe we want to go with a film burn or something like that. I think that could look cool. And we come in here, we apply the speed, the direction, and we just click the button, and it'll load up the preset. And after a quick second, we applied our creative film transition. And like I said, we have over 1,000 transitions in this pack. So you should be able to do amazing transitions very quickly and build out your entire video with awesome transitions. If you want to learn more about the Handy Seamless Transitions, go ahead and check our link in the video description. Alright, there's our tutorial for our transitions. Hope you learned a few things from it. If you did enjoy the video, Please be sure to subscribe to our channel, SonduckFilm. We post 2 to 3 After Effects videos a week. Hit me up on my social media networks. Those links are in the video description. And of course, you always need to be creating.